Why Media Group? The fastest growing media group in North America.
Now, the pressure points on Iran from the United States is to halt uranium enrichment and return to negotiations, and the blockades are targeting that specifically to add that pressure. Okay, so it is kind of a economic strangulation without a full-scale invasion or attack is right now what the United States is planning on doing. Now, if you recall, a few weeks ago, President Trump was talking about boots on the ground. If you recall the two fighter jets that were shot down on Iran, and they were looking for the pilots. Well, that is now, as people are looking into it, they're saying, well, was that part of the strategy of, removing the enriched uranium that we know the Iranians have buried far underground? And was that a failed operation? So it seems that since that incident, which seems to be very mysterious about what really took place, and President Trump saying who released that information, and only to find out that it was the Israelis that released information about the fighter jets being shot down, and then the rescue mission that took place, and the people that were part of that rescue mission, that were scientists that understood what enriched uranium would be and how you would try to extract it, almost a mission impossible. And then from that, it seems like President Trump has changed the way he's looking at this war. And regime change, and that it's not going to be a uranium extraction with boots on the ground, because we know that boots on the ground it's a mountainous country, it's got deserts, and Tehran is in the very north part. So if any U.S. troops try to come, it would be from the southern parts, and it would be almost impossible. And then you had that failed mission of what that mission was with those fighter jets in Iran that were shot down. So you have that. So then President Trump has realized, okay, so maybe it just comes down to the Strait of Hormuz, which essentially has now opened up talks with South Korea and Iran, Japan and Iran, all the countries that were essentially not talking with Iran directly because of U.S. pressures from before. So a lot of things are shifting at the same time. We're going to block your trades. So we're going to see what this means in the next little while. The threats of retaliation are there. Iranians did call it piracy, that if you do decide to steal Iranian oil, which we've heard reports of, same thing that's happened to Russian oil, that essentially if it's seized by American forces, it's taken, kind of like a piracy situation that's going on. A lot is happening in that region, and Iranians threatening retaliation against the ships, regional ports, and really risking naval clashes and mines in the Strait of Hormuz that were placed there during the blockades, and what could be a broader regional war that will, of course, affect the global economy. So these talks are going to happen, as we're told, which is really stabilizing the market rate right now, that what we're seeing with the rates when it comes to crude oil. But on both sides, we're going to see what the negotiations mean within the next few days. While the ceasefire is technically holding, it is fragile. So we have Israel and Lebanon in talks for peace, even though since the ceasefire, about almost 300 Lebanese people have been killed in the strikes that have taken place. But now they're in talks in Washington, and now we have Washington and Tehran having talks potentially this week. You're going to stay with us because we're going to tell you all the latest, updates that come from those. But, when you look at the Strait of Hormuz completely, and then you look at the Red Sea, which is right below, and what that means is that, Iran is now looking at closing the next chokehold of that El Mandab Strait, which is another waterway, and that would be done, it's with Djibouti is right there, and it could be done with the Houthis. So that's another thing, because Yemen is right there. So Iran is trying to show a chokehold, not on just the Strait of Hormuz, but on the Strait of El Mandeb. So that's another aspect of how strategic each part is trying to be. And, definitely you want to stay with us in terms of where this goes. We're going to bring you all the latest developments on this story, which affects us all. But JD Vance has now said that this is going to be part of the discussions that take place. Now, will Iran, come to terms and just suspend uranium enrichment? That's to be seen, because part of their 10 points was that they are now want to be a nuclear power as guarantee that they will not be attacked by the Americans as well as the Israelis in the near future. That's all the time we have right now. Of course, you want to stay with us for a newsroom with all the latest development. I'm Ramona Singh. Until tomorrow, take care and be well.
Ymedia Group, the fastest growing media group in North America.